Welcome to the Valentine's Day edition of CHS Wired. I'm Gabby Capiello.
And I'm Abby Morales.
Now this is a story all about how my heart got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute just to sit right there. I'll tell you how I became a matchmaker named Cupid. In Cody, Wyoming, born and raised on Main Street, where I spent most of my days picking out couples, hooking them up, shooting some arrows right at the butt. When people started to notice my skillful ways, hey, look, now we got a Valentine's Day. You got a one little rose and said, go whenever you need me, I'll be right there. I packed her stuff up, and when she came near, the look in her eyes said, oh baby, come here, matchmaker Cupid, I'm ready to go. All that I need is my arrow and bow. Time to go on the streets, just doing my thing. Get my arrows ready, and then you'll see that love is in the air. It's a kissing free. But for now, happy Valentine's Day, Cody High School.
Ever wonder what is behind all the hat policies at Cody High School? John Morrison investigates.
You guys, you can take off your hats, please.
Whether it be teachers or students, CHS does not necessarily see eye to eye regarding the subject of hats in class.
I guess I was raised that that's a sign of respect. I've always been taught that we come in from work and come into a house, anybody's home, you remove your hat.
I like hats. Like, they're comfy, they're warm. On cold days like this, it's kind of nice to have a hat on, so then you're, warm coming to school.
So my opinion about hats in school is that it should be left up to the individual teacher. So if they don't want students to wear hats in the classroom, then students should obey and abide by that rule.
I think it has just been one of those traditions. It's just an etiquette thing that was established long, long ago.
In fact, this custom dates back to medieval times when knights removed their helmets upon meeting.
I carry that through with my kiddos in my classes and expect that to remove their hats when they come into my classes. And to me, it just boils down to a sign of respect.
While some teachers enforce a hat-free classroom, others are more lenient, and they have their reasons.
Now, I understand sometimes in a working situation, like as in the shop, in the ag shop, and maybe those kinds of things, there is a need to do that.
I don't mind if students wear hats because we're in and out of the shop all the time. It's really, it's not an issue for me or my classroom. The wood shop, it's pretty dusty, pretty dirty environment. It doesn't make them safer. It just, it keeps the dust out of their hair, basically. So
next time you're asked to take your hat off, know that there's more to it than just a policy. This is John Morrison for CHS Wired.
A new semester brings new students. Gabby Capiello brings you the story.
This semester, CHS welcomed Austrian exchange student Benny Schuster.
The story goes back to the year 1960 when the parents of my host father, Chuck Walker, came to Austria and met my great-grandparents in Feldkirch, which is a little town in the western part of Austria. And they got friends, and the friendship grew, and they came also to America from time to time. And so it was back then the friendship began.
2 years ago, at Benny's great-aunt's 70th birthday party in Rome, the two families met again.
One day we talked about exchange programs or exchange students, and they invited me to come to Cody, Wyoming, and so I'm here. It's pretty nice that the friendship held on until now, so I think that's a pretty cool story. I mean, it's now over 50 years since they met.
Benny is quickly adapting to the Wyoming lifestyle and is looking forward to experiencing American customs.
Experience a new culture, and of course also to improve my language, my English, because that's very important, I think. And also, I don't know, to enjoy the landscape of Wyoming. Vienna does have 1.8 million people, and Cody has 9,000, so it's just a little difference, but that's also part of my exchange, and so it's actually another life then in the end. But I really like that. The first 2 weeks were really cool, and everybody is so nice, and that's just awesome because it was a good start, and I hope then it will be good the whole semester.
This is Gabby Capiello for CHS Wired. Math teacher Sean Trotter is flipping his classroom this year. Leslie Byrne and Emma Berry explain.
Students in Mr. Trotter's math class watch videos on their iPads at home and do their homework in the classroom.
Flipped classroom is when your instruction is given on a video, and so that would be the homework piece, as the student is able to watch the video and get their instruction outside of the classroom. And then when they're in the classroom, then their time is spent either doing maybe some sort of bookwork or application of whatever the video was talking about.
Student feedback on the flipped classroom is mixed.
I didn't like it because I don't really learn that way, and I just felt like he should have been teaching us it, not like a video. Like I could have found the video on YouTube and like kind of taught myself, and I wouldn't have had to like take that class.
It's very much like the regular classroom part of it, as far as who's successful and who isn't. It comes down to kind of the same thing, and that is who's doing their part outside of the classroom.
Having a flipped classroom is nice for me because I work quite a bit after school, and being able to just watch a 20-minute video instead of having to do a couple hours of homework's a lot better.
They're not really doing what they're like getting paid for.
Mr. Trotter feels very confident in the new teaching method.
When you're in the classroom and then you're able to work together in groups or ask the teacher questions over those hard problems, that's what allows students to have more success.
This is Emma Berry for CHS Wired.
Do you need help with the ladies? Studley Ben Payton returns to offer romantic tips for Valentine's Day.
Welcome to Ben's Tips Get Chicks. I'm Ben.
Never fail to buy your chocolates and always test them out first. Don't forget flowers, although they are hard to find this time of year.
On your first date, ride your bike to the date because you care about the environment and need the exercise. Second, take her to McDonald's and order off the dollar menu because it's cheap.
Flirt with the cashier to show that you're socially open.
Make her pay because you need to show that you're humble. Bring conversation flashcards because you always need a backup plan. If she starts to ask questions, answer with pass.
Pass.
The final tip is to tell her that you're in love because you need to seal the deal. Until next time, stay sexy, my friends.
The Wyoming Game and Fish Department looks for new ways to bring in revenue. Gaston Osterland brings you the story.
Every year, the Wyoming Game and Fish sells big game licenses to the public. These licenses compose over 80% of the department's revenue, although lately they have been searching for an additional funding source to increase that revenue.
The Super Tag Raffle and the Super Tag Trifecta Raffle is a new program that the department initiated for 2014 as a way to generate some additional funding source for the department.
Many people are happy with the decision to start the raffle not only because of the chance to get more licenses, but because the Game and Fish will be able to provide better resources with the increased revenue.
I think it's a really good idea. Make a lot of extra money for the Game and Fish, and you can get lucky and you can draw 2 tags. You can draw it with the Super Tag, or you can put in for one and draw one too. As
I mentioned, it started January 2nd. It runs through May 1st. The drawing will be done on May 15th. For those people on some of these species like bighorn sheep and moose, if they're successful in drawing, their preference points will not be used up for this license, so they could potentially draw 2 licenses for bighorn sheep if they went in through the regular draw and then won the Super Tag Raffle. So they might have to think about quitting their job to hunt all the species they want to.
The cost to obtain a ticket for the Super Tag Raffle is $10 and $30 for the Super Tag Trifecta. If you win, you are guaranteed a chance to hunt 1 or 3 of these big game species: elk, deer, antelope, moose, bighorn sheep, black bear, gray wolf, mountain goat, mountain lion, or wild bison. This is Gaston Osterland for CHS Wired.
And now a public service announcement brought to you by CHS Wired.
Over 44,000 people attended this year's National Western Agriculture Convention in Denver. 4 of our FFA members competed. Tawny Roberts brings you the story.
Mr. Lyon, we had 3 heifers that we were wanting to sell, and part of the profit that we sold went to the FFA fund.
We didn't really expect a whole lot out of them because the 2 heifers were pretty small. And then our 3rd one was really good, and so Mr. Wine ended up buying her back because he liked her so much. And then the other 2, we're kind of at that point where we're like, okay, we don't have enough room in the barn, so we needed to get rid of them.
FFA sold the 2 heifers for $4,750, and they kept over half of the profit.
For me personally, it was just a totally new learning experience. So I was challenged with just the learning aspect.
We had to learn a lot of stuff about cows, and I didn't really know about them, so we had to do it was a lot of hard work and to take care of them and sell them.
It was a blast because it was something completely and totally new for me, and just one of those new experiences that I can now say that I've had.
You should join FFA, it's really fun.
This is Tawny Roberts for CHS Wired.
24 million people suffer from an eating disorder in the United States. Caitlin Jacobs investigates the causes and negative side effects.
Eating disorders are characterized by people either restricting the amount of food that they're eating or by eating excessive quantities of food in a short period of time.
One of the things that you might notice first is someone becomes very secretive about eating. Might choose not to eat with family or not eat with friends.
We were friends for probably a year or more before I knew, and when I look back, there were hints that I didn't recognize.
Research on the causes of eating disorders have narrowed it down to 4 main categories.
Some of them seem to be genetic factors. Some of them seem to be family factors, relationships in the family. Societal factors seem to be important. Pressures to be thin and appear a certain way.
An issue found in all of these categories is control.
When I did eat, I threw up. And it never was a weight thing.
For instance, the woman doesn't feel like she has any control over anything in her life, and the only thing she can control is what she's eating and how she looks.
People suffering from anorexia tend to starve themselves, whereas people suffering from bulimia binge and purge.
Usually it starts out in the morning, I'm not going to eat today, I'm going to have control over this. But by the time we get to evening, I'm so hungry that I just cannot control it anymore.
She'd sit there at night all by herself and just gorge herself and then go in the bathroom and throw up and throw up and throw up and throw up.
Sometimes people report feeling numb while they're eating and not even knowing how much they're eating until it's all over, and then they're so full that the only way to relieve the pressure in the stomach is to get rid of it, as is often said by people who have bulimia. Often it's vomiting, but it can also be laxative use.
What she couldn't puke up, she would take massive doses of laxatives.
The numbers of people who suffer from eating disorders tend to be higher for girls between the ages of 15 and 25.
Started showing symptoms at 14. That's when I was diagnosed anorexic.
It all started in early high school years over some guy because he picked some girl that was skinnier than her, and she got it stuck in her head that she needed to be skinnier and skinnier and skinnier.
Eating disorders are serious and can result in death, but many people with eating disorders are in denial. Getting them to see a professional who can help them can be difficult.
I think that it absolutely, completely, it just consumed all of her. I mean, it consumed her heart, her body, her soul, her mind. It consumed every part of her, was insistent on getting thinner. Basically what she had done that last time was she had taken so many laxatives that she pretty much dehydrated her body.
You got to accept that it's there. Because if you don't accept it, you can't work with it. You're not going to work with it. People around you can work with it all day long. But if you're not going to work with it, people can't do you any good.
This is Caitlin Jacobs for CHS Wired.
Last week, the Power team came to Cody, Wyoming to share their stories. Kayla Cortez brings you the story.
The Power Team is a motivational group that performs abnormal stunts to catch youth's attention.
Most rewarding part is seeing people's lives change and hearing the feedback that we get every night. There's always different stories, and so that's probably the most rewarding part.
The results that you see. It's not, a lot of people want to impact somebody's life, but they're not handed that opportunity where we get to do over 500 school assemblies a year and do the nighttime programs that we do. So we're afforded the opportunity to travel, and we get a chance to impact somebody's life. There's been kids that we've met that were thinking about suicide that day. Guys have received bullets in the mail from kids that said, hey, this is the bullet that was going to end my life.
With traveling for most of the year, there are a lot of hard aspects, but the difference they make is much more rewarding.
The hours that we put in, and it's the physical and the mental hours, because they're both draining, because we pour our hearts and our lives in people, and vice versa.
Always traveling and always having to be your best. When you're in, like we are here, it's -20, and last week it's 70 somewhere. So your body's constantly changing, and you fight sickness like everybody else. We're not superhuman, so we get colds as good as everybody else. But when you're running 106-degree temperature and you still got to go speak to kids, just the toll it takes on your body. But knowing that you have to be 100% because this is what you do, so you don't have time to be sick. You don't have the time not to feel good. You have to kind of push through those things. The one simple message that every kid or every adult, anybody, should leave with is their future lies in their hands. The power of choice is up to them.
This is Kayla Cortez for CHS Wired.
Reading in a bathtub, Nicholas Henry brings you the Peculiar Monthly Almanac.
Hello and welcome to the February Monthly Almanac. We begin this month on the 9th with Read a Book in the Bathtub Day. I think everyone should give this a try. I find it quite relaxing. Next, it's the 11th with Bring Out Your Guitar Day. Perhaps with enough practice you might become the next Slash. And on the 10th, it's Umbrella Day. I assume this day was made because the season can be quite rainy in some areas. But around here, we just have snow. Lots and lots of snow. And on the 22nd, it's Sword Swallowers Day. Now, I would show representation of this day as well, but I fear I might make a fatal mistake. So here are some images of sword swallowers. This is Nicholas Henry for CHS Wired.
This week's Equus quiz is, how many days did it take to carry the Olympic torch?
If you know the answer, call extension 5125 and you could be the winner of a pizza.
Welcome to Sports Desk. I'm Dean Madley. Wrestling team is doing very well, but one Bronc stands out. Kayla Cortez brings you the story.
One Bronc wrestler is really standing out this season.
Corbin Adams has improved quite a bit on his feet. He's always been a pretty naturally gifted wrestler as far as technique, but just staying in his great stance and really getting stance motion going so he can take kids down. I'm confident that Corbin can take anyone down that he wrestles.
Oh, I haven't set any school records or anything, but I've gotten my fastest pin so far. It's like 11 seconds.
Corbin, he's just a positive guy. He's kind of quiet, doesn't say a whole lot, but when the whistle blows and Corbin, he gets after it.
He's a known leader for the team and gives the underclassmen advice.
Stick with it and give it your all.
Oh, well, we have a good crew of juniors in Boudry, Landerman. I've got some decent sophomores with great leadership skills, Brody Smith, Dallin Jones. So I think those guys will pick right up where Corbin's leaving them with, and we'll have a great season.
This is Kayla Cortez for CHS Wired.
State for Nordic Skiers is to be hosted at Pahaska on the 22nd. Gaston Osterland reports.
Not very many people realize just how much work goes into preparing for state each year.
Well, first we have to set up the course, which we have to have a 5K course that's going to be skate and a 10K course for classic. And we have to groom all of those and everything. Then we have to get places ready for starts and finishes and get that all organized. And then we have to organize a banquet and get our kids ready with their skis and poles and stuff. It's going to be difficult for us, but it'll be fun at the same time because we'll know the course better than anybody else.
Coach Andy Quick is excited for state and envisions that the team will do well.
We got 3rd place overall in Laramie 3 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks ago in Casper we got 2nd place in boys. So I'm really excited. I think as a whole, girls and boys both, everybody's really moving up and progressing, and we're going to have a great team next year too.
I am extremely excited. Before we had thought that it was the year after I graduated, and that's one thing since I've started I've always hoped that I'd have state at home. Pretty sure everybody kind of hopes that they'd have state at home sometime. I'm ready for the longer races. I have such a huge part in putting it on. Coach has put a lot on Trent and I to do, as well as just kind of get our team ready for it.
This is Gaston Osterland for CHS Wired.
Next year brings big changes for the Cody Phillies. Annie Rum brings you the story.
With the team consisting of mostly sophomores, the younger players have a lot of responsibility.
They all have a big role on our team. Almost all of them play varsity and they get a lot of playing time, and I just really enjoy playing with all of them.
Having a young team is a lot of fun because we get to teach the girls as we go and share what we know with them. We've been doing really good. We're 5-2 in conference, which is tied for 2nd.
I think that everyone has their own individual skill that they need to work on, and we know what that is. And we'll just get it going and hopefully end the year well. I think our team chemistry is really important, making sure everyone's included in our team and acting like a family.
And I just hope that they can learn from everything that we've taught them this year, and they've gotten tons of varsity time, which is great.
Just to keep working hard, and I know the younger girls give their everything and that they'll be there next year, and hopefully they keep the program moving along.
This is Annie Rum for CHS Wired.
The last time the boys basketball team won a state championship was in 1957. Will this year be the year they win? Abby Morales brings you the story.
The Broncs are leading their division with their record of 15-2, the best it's been in over 8 years.
Yeah, the rankings I always don't really pay much attention to them at all. What matters is where you're at the end of the season.
Despite their success, the Broncs have had to overcome injuries.
Well, there's only about 5 of us that haven't been injured. It's everything from just hurting your back a little bit or rolling your ankle. But I mean, everything affects the team. And
probably 10 different kids come into varsity games and play well and make a difference in at least one game, and that's good for their confidence, and hopefully will bode well for us down the stretch.
Even though their chance of winning state is high, Coach Olinick's focus is on the moment.
You know, in basketball and any sport, it's hard to win it. It's hard to win it all, and you have to have some breaks go your way, but I think a lot of those breaks you create by working hard every day, being prepared for when those situation comes around. So we're just working on getting better every day.
This is Abby Morales for CHS Wired.
A Cody High School senior is making the most of his last year on the boys swim team. Cherokee Barger brings you the story.
Senior swimmer Nick Snyder has dedicated himself to a code of hard work and improvement on his swimming.
He's a very hard worker. Every week he gets consistently better. I mean, really works hard on his technique and still cutting time.
I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well.
This code has helped him make it to the top of the state swimmers.
Right now he is ranked #1 in 3A.
Snyder encourages his teammates at competitions and also at practice.
To never stop in practice, to always keep going, and to whenever you have that self-doubt that you can't finish a race, to keep going and finish.
This has been Cherokee Balger for CHS Wired.
And now for the movie quiz.
If you know the answer, call extension 5125 and you could be the winner of the date package from the Bighorn Cinemas.
This week's film is Live and Let Die, directed by Guy Hamilton.
Okay, Don. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Right. Talk to you later. I gotta go and give a lesson.
Nobody got some runs on Chef J.W. Pepper. And it's him speaking, by the by. What the?
During the boat chase scene, James Bond jumps his boat a world record distance. If you know the distance, call extension 5125.
Thank you for watching the Valentine's Day edition of CHS Wired. I'm Gabby Capiello.
And I'm Abby Morales. You can watch this episode and previous episodes on our website, chswire.tv.